You know, I just had a thought about in between parts, but do you guys think that Nyx has claustrophobia? I mean, when she started her young life, she was stuck in a bunch of bushes and was really, really scared. I wonder if she happens to have claustrophobia. Wouldn't that make for an interesting side plot? Next, Nyx slapped her hoof over her mouth, but it was too late. The pony wanted by stepped on her tail, was remaining exposed outside the bushes, and the sharp spike of pain that made the solid yelp escape her mouth. On instinct, she reached the hoof back and pulled her tail into the bush with her. But the damage had been done. The pony that had been walking by turned, moved closer, bent down, then looked beneath the bush. Their eyes locked for one moment before Nyx bolted, as if she was being chased by the same pony who had ambushed her on the catwalks. She began to run through the underbrush of the shrubs. The pony, however, took chase, stomping through the bushes. She began to panic, began to hyperventilate. She heard the pony say something, but didn't care what it was. She was just trying to get away. But the bushes weren't like the catwalk. They didn't loop around, allowing her to keep running from her pursuer. They ended, and Nyx had to skid to a stop to keep herself from running into the solid stone wall at the far end of the shrubbery. Then, she felt a hoof grab her hind leg. She was hauled upward and back into the light of the Canterlot street lamps. Still, she didn't hesitate a moment. She started to thrash, twist, and flail in the other pony's grip. She flapped her wings to try and kick at him, but her attempts were futile. The pony's grip was strong. She couldn't get away, no matter how hard she tried. "You're not cut!" Nyx stopped flailing at those words, spoken by a voice she now recognized. It was Lumberjack, and for a moment she was happy to see him. He had been nice, if a bit eccentric, when she and Twilight had gone with the rest of the family to the tree lodge. But now she wasn't in disguise. Now he could see her black coat and her real eyes. She began to fear what he would do. She began to renew her attempts to escape. "Whoa now, little one. Lumberjack is not going to hurt you," he said, trying to calm her down. "Just leave me alone!" Her shout only made Lumberjack arch his eyebrows further, cock his head to one side. He drew her closer to his face and looked at her with a scrutinizing gaze. "Wait, you are familiar. Yes, yes, I know you. You look different, but Lumberjack knows that cutie mark in that voice." He paused for a moment, and gently bounced Nyx, like he was feeling at how heavy a melon was at his door. "I also knows you're late. You are Little Snowflake." "That's not my name!" "Yep, you are Little Snowflake," he said as he carried Nyx back out into the street and sat her on the sidewalk. It was an opportunity Nyx attempted to seize. She tried to run the moment her hooves were on the ground, but Lumberjack caught her again, and once more held her upside down by one of her back legs. "Now, why are you trying to run? Why are you outside by yourself in the first place? Where is Twilight? Does she know where you are? She must be worried sick." Nys's struggling began to subside as the strength left her legs, and tears began to well up in her eyes. "No, she isn't! Not really! She doesn't care because Shiny's right!" "What?" "Lumberjack saw Twilight. She cares for you like I care for trees," he said, setting Nyx back down again. "What makes you say things? What is Snowflake talking about?" "I can't believe you did this! Have you lost your mind? Do you realize how many lives you could have broken? Do you realize you almost got yourself killed? By the sun and moon, I never thought you could beat us!" Shining armor pulled the door to the medical ward shut, muffling the shouts he had heard coming from Clear Cut. He had found her on the battlements, using a pair of binoculars to help search for Nyx. She hadn't stayed there long, though. The moment she understood what Colum had done, she galloped back to the medical wards as fast as her hose could carry her. She then burst into the room and proceeded to whack Colum on the back of the head with her hoof. Then came the shouting. It wasn't long after that Shining thought it was best to excuse himself. He cringed at the sound of something crashing inside the medical wards, but he didn't open the door again. The doctor and nurses were wearing a hoof to keep Clearcut from knocking out any more teeth in Colum's mouth. Still, her shouts made Shining grins as he turned to walk away. He would want to be on the receiving end of her rage, but at the same time, he preferred being shouted at over the cold shoulder he was getting. After Twilight realized Nyx had run off, quick plans were made to search for her. And during those first few minutes, Twilight and Cadence refused to speak to them. Then again, who could blame them? Says the alicorn who could spread love like it's cheap, chalky Hearts and Hose Day candy. Shining winced and pushed the stupid thing he had said from his mind. He instead focused on the path ahead. He navigated halls, climbed stairs, and eventually reached one of the highest towers, a part of the palace he was very familiar with. During his wedding, Celestia and Luna had taken turns watching the entire city through the telescope mounted to the banister of the tower's balcony. They had kept a vigilant watch for danger, coming from the outside or the streets of the city. That same balcony was where Shining found Princess Luna, though she wasn't gazing through the telescope. She was instead standing like a statue with her legs folded and head tilted slightly back. Her eyes were shut, and a gentle light was coming off her horn. She was in the trance of performing some unknown spell, but she opened her eyes when Shining stepped onto the balcony. "Did you find Clearcut?" "Yes. She's talking with her brother right now," Shining said as he stepped up beside the princess. "Has any pony been able to find Nyx?" "No," Luna answered as she turned her head to look at him. "The god, however, has expanded their sense. At twilight now is attempting to perform a scrying spell at your parents' home. She is having trouble, though. The only item of Canterlot of personal significance to Nyx to be viable for her scrying spell is her headband, and it still bears within the records of those Hotlock." Shining turned his body, preparing to head back into the castle. "I guess that means you want me to go back downstairs and look for it." "No," Luna said. She looked back at Shining. "Some ponies are already clearing the records in search of the headband, and some guards have been dispatched to Ponyville to collect a cape from their home that Twilight is sure it will be a viable item for a scrying spell. They are also looking for the kazoo." "Then why did you ask me to come find you, Your Highness?" "You are here for 2 reasons. First, so you might aid with the search," Luna answered. She must into the balcony's telescope. It was being adjusted down so it was a height more suitable for the average pony. "Celestia has joined Cadence and Rainbow Dash, wishing to have a more active role in the search. Thus, I'd like you to take her place." "And the second?" he asked as he walked to the telescope. "To ask one question. Why do you doubt me?" Shining turned away from the banister, a confused frown on his lips. "What do you mean?" "I guess you haven't realized it," Luna said as he sat down gently. "Then allow me to explain. You say Nyx is brainwashing Twilight. You say she is plotting against Equestria. That she has plans to usurp me and my sister through deception and underhanded magic. And yet, Shining Armor, if I was the one who put my faith in Nyx, I was the one that gave her a second chance. It was also I who oversaw the examinations that ensured the blessing of the Children of Nightmare had been eradicated. I was the one who picked the finest doctors to examine you, your sister, and anyone who had been touched by that poison. I was also the one that drained Nyx of her power, returning her to her filly. And yet you believe she has the magic to perform these advanced acts of brainwashing." Luna's voice was calm and gentle, like a cool evening breeze in the summer. Yet there was an unmistakable undercurrent to her words. Princess Luna wasn't happy, and Shining felt a chill crawl up his spine as he focused her gaze upon him. "So, let me ask again. Why do you doubt me? What do you know that I don't? Is there something you have yet to tell me? Some piece of evidence you have uncovered that you have, to this point, kept to yourself?" Shining began, trying to bring forth something he hadn't told Princess Luna when they were downstairs, working to clear the catwalk. "I don't have anything else. I know—" "You do not know, Shining. You think, you believe. But if you knew, then you would have had hard facts, and you would be able to convince me and your sister that what you say is true, she said. I had hoped you had seen that after interrogating Quicksnap and realizing for yourself that Nyx may not have been the one that caused the catwalk to collapse.
I was wrong about that, Shining admitted. That doesn't mean Twilight hasn't been brainwashed into caring for Nyx, or that she isn't planning something. I know it in my gut.
Instinct can be a wise thing, Luna admitted. It can keep us safe in dangerous situations, and be a guide when our mind doesn't know what to do. Instinct, however, also sees the world through tinted lenses, coloring our perception of both reality and ourselves. Twilight once did the same thing you are, Shining. She went with her instincts that Cadence was acting evil, and made her accusations known at dress rehearsal. And you, my sister, and Twilight's friends all reacted as any pony would. You did not believe her.
But Twilight was right in the end.
Yes, Luna said with a nod. She was. But let me ask you this, Shining Armor. Would you have been able to forgive her for ruining your and Cadence's wedding day if she had been wrong? If Cadence had been the real Cadence, if her short temper and foul behavior had only been the result of pre-wedding jitters, and the Twilight had been wrong, would you have ever been able to truly forgive her?
Luna didn't wait for an answer, continuing to speak with the same strong undercurrent voice.
That is the danger of making accusations or claims of innocence without hard evidence, Shining Armor. You are gambling, and unlike the ponies who play with cards and dice, you stand to lose much more than just bits if you're wrong.
But aren't you making the same gamble, believing Nyx is innocent? Shining asked.
Maybe I am, but not without solid evidence and testimony. I spoke with the ponies around Nyx, and heard how she saved Ponyville. I was the one to speak with her before handing out judgment, and I was the one who drained her of her magic. All these things support Nyx's innocence. Yes, I may be proven wrong, but right now I am confident in my decision.
Luna lowered her head down, putting herself eye level with Shining.
Are you still so sure of yourself, Shining? After finding out about Colin's involvement with the catwalk, after uncovering the true hard evidence for yourself, are you still sure you are right?
Shining opened his mouth to argue he was in fact sure as ever. But the truth wasn't sure anymore.
The theory had seemed so strong and undeniable on the train ride from the Crystal Empire now seemed almost flimsy. He blamed so much of what had happened on Nyx. But Lorna pointed out the evidence wasn't there. Your silence says enough, Lorna commented before standing up again. Still, no matter your doubts or your belief, at the moment it is in all our best interest to find Nyx quickly. Take up your post in the telescope, Shining, and I shall resume my own search as well. That was a simple truth Shining couldn't deny. If he was right, it was important to find Nyx before she could brainwash somebody else. If he was wrong, he needed to find her quickly, because she was an innocent filling out in the cold. So, he turned back to the telescope and looked through the eyepiece as Luna shut her eyes and resumed her own spell.